Hey, Steve here, and in this video I thought I would show you what I like to do for a pre-warm-up warm-up. If you've ever heard me talk about this, you know that, especially as I've gotten older, it's important for me to do kind of a pre-practice before I get going with my regular stuff, because when I get up in the morning, most of the time my hands don't do exactly what I want them to do. And there was a time when that made me really nervous, like, is there something wrong, that sort of thing. And what I realized is that I just need to spend more time warming up before I get to my actual practice. So I thought what we would do is just go through some of the things that I like to do to try and get my fingers going. So the first thing that I do is I separate my synchronicity between my hands. So the first thing I would do is I would just focus on, for instance, my fretting hand, which for me is my left hand. It might be for you too, but my fretting hand. So the first thing I do is I run through a series of legato exercises that don't require a metronome or anything like that. They're just purely for warm up. And I tell you, what I've always tried to work on with myself and with my students is trying to develop independence with all four fingers. So not just using three fingers, but really trying to focus on strength, dexterity, that sort of thing with all four of your fingers. So I do a series of exercises where I focus on all the combinations of my four fingers in various ways. So the first thing I'm going to show you is what I do all the time, which is basically before I get to the 20-second exercise, if you've ever heard me talk about that, I just start off by trying to do some prep. So I'll just grab a string, grab a fret. In this case, I'm just going to grab the second string, fifth fret, but it doesn't matter where this is. And I just start trying to do things like this. And what I'm focusing on when I'm doing that is not timing. It's not how fast I can go. It's just trying to get the blood flowing to my fingers in the morning to try and get things going. So I start off just doing these independent ones, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. And then once I start getting that, and again, I would do this for a little while longer, but I'm just trying to show you kind of what I would do. And then what I start doing is I start doing combinations of those where I might do something like this. So again, I'm not trying to go as fast as humanly possible. I'm not trying to do this super hard. I'm just trying to get some blood flowing to my fingers as I do this. Okay, so I start off doing things like that. And then what I'll do is I'll start kind of moving into doing some three-note stuff. And again, some of this stuff will come back around in my regular practice too, but I'll start doing some threes where I do things like this. So again, drinking some coffee, maybe watching a little bit of the news or the weather or whatever it might be. And I don't even need to be plugged in for something like this. It's just kind of, and again, I haven't done these yet this morning, so this is literally me just warming up. But I would normally do this at home, just kind of sitting there watching some TV and kind of get my hands going a little bit. So, and you might do this after school or after work or whatever it might be, right? And you might not even need to do this. Like you might be able to just forge right into your normal rehearsal or normal practice, I should say. But for me, it's really important for me to go through these things. And then I'll do this one. This is another three. I'll go. Okay, just doing that over and over and over, just kinds of different things like that. Once I feel like I've sort of warmed up enough, then I start moving into what I call the 20-second exercise, which is, again, 20 seconds is just a round number. It doesn't make any difference. You could do this less or more. But what I do then is I start trying to warm up the finger combinations. So now I've kind of got my hands warmed up a little bit. Maybe I, oftentimes, especially if it's cold out, I'll kind of pinch the tips of my fingers to try and get the blood to flow. I'll do stretches with my fingers where I'm stretching them out, different kinds of things like that. And I might do that in between some of the practices that I'm doing right now. Try and make sure you're drinking ample amounts of water, different kinds of things like that. Stretch out your forearms. I don't want to get into a big discussion about stretching, although that certainly is an important aspect of this as well. So I should probably mention that, but definitely trying to get warmed up, stretch out a little bit while you're doing some of these things. So then when I get into the 20-second exercise, what I do is I start doing finger combinations, utilizing all the various finger combinations that I can use, 2-finger. So again, it doesn't matter what fret, what string you're on. Let's just say I was on the 2nd string, again, 5th fret, or maybe 7th fret. Let's go to the 7th fret. So what I'm going to do is for around 20 seconds, and I might have a clock going, or I might just be counting in my head, or I might just go by feel, right? Whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a hammer-on pull-off combination from 1 to 2 for 20 seconds. And the goal here is to try and do this as well as I can, as fast as I can, as accurate as I can. So you'll notice what I'm trying to do is kind of keep the other strings quiet as I do this. And, just do the best job that I can with this. And again, if I'm just kind of prepping, it might not be as fast as I can normally go or as clean as I normally would play, but I'm going to try and do the best I can. So as I do this, I'm trying to get a nice solid hammer-on and pull-off combination for 20 seconds. And then what I do is I move on without stopping. I move to the 3rd finger. So I start doing from 1st finger to 2nd. I start doing 1st to 3rd. So it would look like this, moving from 1st to 2nd. So it's just seamlessly moving. So I've got 1st and 2nd going. And again, do that for 20 seconds as well as you can. And then without stopping, you move from 1st to 4th. Now, that first group of first combination of fingers, I should say, all utilize the 1st finger. So they're usually your strongest hammer-ons and pull-offs, your strongest legato combinations. Then what we're going to do without stopping when we get done with 1 and 4, and again, you're going to have a little bit of a slip in there, but as quickly as you can, you're going to move from 1 to 4 to 2, your middle finger here, which I'm just laying down on the 6th fret or 8th fret because I was at the 7th fret here. So I'm going to put that finger down, and I'm going to start doing a combination of my middle to my 3rd finger. And this is where it gets a little bit harder. So remember, I was on 1 and 4. So I'm just going to shift over to my middle finger now, 1 fret higher than where my 1st finger was, and start doing a finger combination of middle to 3rd. And then I move from middle to 4th. And then I end with putting my 3rd finger down. Now this would be at the 9th fret. And then doing my 3rd finger to my pinky. So I'm working 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, and then 3, 4, all in a 20-second sequence each. So I'm doing this one for 20 seconds, or 10 seconds, or whatever it is you want, and then I'm moving. And like I said, when you first start doing it in the morning, or whenever it is that you've just grabbed the guitar, don't worry if it's not absolutely perfect and it's not the fastest that you can possibly go. Really, again, this pre-practice idea is that you're just trying to get your fingers to start moving and the blood to start flowing to your fingers and get all that stuff going. And even just this, I can already feel that my fingers are coming around a little bit, and I haven't done much, but it already feels better than it did when I first got to the studio this morning to start filming this. So that's what I start off with, is just doing those kind of things. And then the last legato kind of exercise that I do for this pre-practice is just doing some groups of 3. So what I'll do is, for instance, I'll take and go to the 5th fret of the 4th string. And again, you could do this anywhere, but I'm going to start going 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9 right here. And I'm not picking anything. I'm just trying to hammer all these. And again, it might not sound as great as you want, but you're just, again, trying to get warmed up, trying to get all of this stuff warmed up in here, you know, your forearm and everything else. So it doesn't have to be fast. So I'll just start doing that, and then I'll start making some other patterns out of it. I might do something like this. Now, what I'm doing is playing 5, 7, 9, and you'll notice I'm not picking the first one. I'm just hammering it. And then the next string, I'm going to play 5, 9, 5, 7, 9, 7. So I'm jumping over. And then coming back. So the whole thing looks like this. And then I just do that. You know, over and over and over, just again, trying to get warmed up a little bit. And what I'm doing right now is what we call a spread fingering, 5, 7, 9. But I'll do other ones too, for instance, where I'll move down and I'll play 4, 5, 7. Now I'm using my first, middle, and pinky, but in a closed position, I call it. So same thing, I can go round robin. Or do that jump one. And again, do the best you can with the way it sounds. Again, just trying to get warmed up. And then what I'll do is I'll move back to the 2nd fret, which now would be 2, 4, and 5. Notice I'm playing more of a scale connection here. So now I'm using my first, 3rd, and pinky, which is going to be a little bit harder. And that one might require some more time because that's, again, a finger combination that's a little bit more difficult. So I might, when I start doing something like that, if it feels really rough to do, I might just go back and start doing something like this. Remember that one that I showed you a little bit earlier? I might just start doing a little bit of that. So again, you know, this whole process might take me 10, 15 minutes to just kind of get warmed up, but it really sets the tone for the rest of the day. And I'll come back around to this. Like if I take time off for lunch and then do whatever and come back, and again, my fingers are feeling a little bit sluggish, I'll maybe do this pre-practice again just to kind of get warmed up. Now that's just the fretting hand, right? Just trying to get some things going. And you don't have to do this for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever. You might just do it for a couple minutes just to get the blood flowing, whatever works for you. Then what I do is I head over here to my picking hand and I start simply trying to get some alternate picking. You know, I can use down picking too, but I tend to start off just doing some. And again, what I'm trying to do here is relax and dial in the speed and the dynamics of the picking of that string. So again, maybe I'm not going as fast as I normally go or whatever, but I'm just trying to get warmed up. And as I do this, I keep thinking about relaxing the muscles from my neck on down, through my arm, through my fingers, and just keep trying to dial that in. However you like to hold the pick, whatever works for you, again, just trying to get that dialed in. And then what I'll do is I'll start doing groups. Like I might do something where I go. So now I'm going down, up, down, up. And I just keep trying to go back and forth. Just trying to get that dialed in a little bit too. And notice I'm not using this hand yet, which makes this a little bit harder actually, because when your hand is there, it helps you to lead you to know where the next string is. When your fretting hand isn't part of the equation, it's a little bit harder to do, which is kind of nice because again, it's not just about speed. It's just trying to dial in how that feels and get your hand moving a little bit. So I'll just start off with these. Do those, and then I'll start moving in and just doing some basic things where I'm okay, and as I do those, then I start working with trying to synchronize these a little bit. So again, not super fast, just trying to do basic things like I might just do a series of 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. And again, when you start off for the day, you might not be near as fast as you normally are when you're warmed up, which again, this is a pre-practice. We're just trying to get warmed up. So this is where I might start implementing a metronome. Now, I normally just start right around 120 beats a minute, but whatever works for you. So hopefully you can hear this. It's on my iPad right now, but so I'll just start off doing that sort of thing where I'm just rolling through, and you can make whatever various patterns you want. Again, this is a pre-practice. We're just trying to get warmed up a little bit here. Over and over and over, just trying to kind of get that sort of thing going. And if there's a lot of different finger exercises that you like to do, that's great. The point is, you're just trying to start off a little bit slower and just get everything kind of moving. If you want to run through scales or something, again, whatever speed works for you. If I start at 120, it's kind of a nice little a place to begin here. And as I keep going, it starts feeling better. Again, I used to panic about this stuff when I would first start practicing for the day because it felt like I couldn't play. And I used to, really kind of freak out about it. Now, I understand that I just have to go through this process. I didn't have to do this when I was in my 20s. But, now I'm in my 50s, I have to do this. So this is just sort of something I start off with. And as I spend a good, for me, it's probably a good half an hour of this pre-practice element that I do. Once I've gone through this process, everything starts falling into place, and then I'm good for the rest of the day, but I do have to run through this routine. That's why I thought I would share this with you a little bit and kind of show you how this works. So that's what I'll do with scales is I'll just, just play. Whatever positions. And as I'm doing this again, what I'm not focusing on necessarily is how fast I'm going. It's the connections that I'm making. As I play, trying to make that as comfortable as I can, trying to relax as much as I can, and just keep kind of trying to dial that in. And as I keep doing it for a few minutes, all of a sudden everything starts, my muscle memory comes back and goes, hey, I remember this. And then everything starts feeling a little better and I'm ready to go. So hopefully that helps you a little bit in understanding how to approach, possibly a pre-practice just to get yourself in the zone, both mentally and physically to do your regular practice and then whatever it is you do from there. Thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to support the channel so we can continue to bring you more free content, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications and let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you'd like more in-depth training and courses, go to guitarzoom.com and get started for free today.